Hi, very good afternoon, good morning. I am Sadesh here from Indusface. I could see the participants are joining in. So we'll start in a minute. I hope I'm audible. My screen is visible to all the attendees. Great. Okay, let's get started with our today's technical session on our flagship product, AppTrana. So AppTrana is a cloud-based WAAP solution. It's the next generation WAAP solution with an AI-powered services and human verified accuracy through our managed services. That is how we position this particular solution. So I'm going to deep dive today. What are the feature sets we offer? How we protect your web applications APIs from the external threats, and what are the new age concepts? What are the new age feature sets we have launched that can help customers to enhance their security posture from an application security standpoint. So let's get started. Today's agenda is going to be, we'll start with solution overview. I will brief about what AppTrana is all about. We'll talk about the architecture of the solution, how it has been built, how the robust architecture has been there. And from there on, I will be moving forward for live onboarding and portal demonstration. That's where I'll be focusing more. And I will be also covering the new feature releases as a part of my demonstration, like asset discovery, DNS security, the Swift comply, that is a rapid remediation of your vulnerabilities, how we do that. That will cover up malware scanning, self-managed rules, what's new things we have come up in the API security segment. We're going to talk about it. Reporting capabilities, CI/CD integration, and the Jira integration as well. So with me, I also have my colleague Dhiral, and we are going to drive this session today. So let's get started with introduction to AppTrana WAAP platform. So AppTrana WAAP secures everything that is on OSI layer 7, that is at the application layer, whether it's a web applications, APIs, or you have mobile application APIs, whichever are the external facing APIs. This is the right set of tool to secure such kind of external assets from any kind of threats, external threats as well. So it's completely a cloud-based solution that we offer. It's seamlessly, you can onboard your applications onto this particular platform. It's completely zero downtime onboarding that we offer with this particular solution. And within less than 5 minutes, you can start securing your applications or APIs through this particular platform. So those are the new age concepts that we have built with this particular solution, honoring to the need of the new age application security programs. So what we do is, very first we do an external attack surface monitoring. External attack surface monitoring provides a customer an inventory of all the applications, websites, mobile applications that are visible from the external world, right? So this is helpful to the security team to understand like what they are responsible for when implementing the application security. So attack surface monitoring, where we discover all the assets, we have an inventory of those particular assets, and we also provide a digital footprints for those particular assets, like what IP they belong to, where exactly those assets are hosted, right? What is the type of asset it is, etc. All those informations you'll be able to see. So this is the very first step, like the security team and the CISO team, right? They should be aware about what are the assets that they should consider when they plan for an application security program. So that's the first answer they get with this particular solution. Very next, what we do is we do a risk analysis of all these identified assets that we onboard, right? So we have a DAS scanner which has been integrated with this particular platform. It's our own scanner that we have integrated, and the customer has a complete flexibility on how they want to perform the scan. Uh, they can schedule the scan with the frequency they want to do it. Some of my customers, for the critical application, they do it a daily based scanning. Some of they do it for the weekly based scanning, fortnightly based scans, etc. Right? So it's a new age scanner. It's a smart scanner that we provide with this particular solution, where we do the risk analysis of the onboarded applications. Now we identify all the vulnerabilities coming from the OWASP top 10, SANS top 25, plus different platform specific coverages as well. So this scanner can also perform black box scans, authenticated gray box scans. So you have a complete flexibility on how and which type of scans you want to perform. So you get an unlimited number of scans with this particular solution, which plays a very, very important role in your vulnerability management program. With automated scanner, we also provide a manual pen testing service as an add-on, which basically through our manual pen testing team. Again, the manual pen testing team is a certain impanel. So we are an authorized auditor to conduct the manual pen test for the web applications, APIs, as well as the mobile applications. So that is the unique proposition that we bring, that with the help of risk-based approach, we discover all the assets, we onboard those particular assets, we perform the vulnerability assessment scans on those particular assets, we identify the weaknesses, the vulnerabilities of an application, and the very next, the game-changing feature that we provide with this particular solution is autonomous vulnerability remediation. Instantly, rapidly, you can virtually patch all the possible vulnerabilities onto the WAAP layer. This is something, a very, very important function that has been provided here. So we have a feature which is called as a Swift Comply. I will show you in the demo. So this Swift Comply feature, what it does is within 72 hours, it identifies what are the vulnerabilities which has been there, and it virtually patch all the possible vulnerabilities and generates a clean report which gives you the visibility about how many vulnerabilities were detected, how many of them are virtually patched, and how many needs to be taken care at the application level, which are the type of fixing code. Definitely, there will be few sets of vulnerabilities which will be out of scope for the WAF as a layer 7 proxy to patch. So those will also be called out in this particular report. So the SLA that we provide, right? So it's a within 72 hours, we virtually patch all the possible vulnerabilities. Now, what is the use case we are solving out here, right? Number one is we are minimizing the chances of application to be under attack. As per the Verizon report, the latest report, the major attackers try to exploit the existing vulnerabilities of an application. So if we are proactive enough to discover and virtually patch the vulnerabilities, it will minimize the chances of exploitations of an application, number one, right? It minimizes the attack surface. Number two, as a security team, you can give a brief time to your application team to correctly fix the vulnerabilities at the code level. Rather, the vulnerabilities that cannot be patched by the WAF, that can be taken as the first priority to fix it out, right? So basically, your app team doesn't need to prioritize the vulnerabilities to get it fixed at the code level. Use the Swift Comply feature and get all the possible vulnerabilities virtually patched. The report, the Swift Comply report, can also be utilized for any kind of audit purposes, compliance purposes, internal communication purpose. So that's how all my customers, they use the Swift Comply feature to get all the vulnerabilities patched. This acts as a first layer of defense against implementing the application security protection for your web applications and APIs, right? So that is what we are going to see in our demo today as well. I will show you, I will run through those particular things as well. Moving forward, we also have a web application firewall, which has been integrated here, which protects your application against all the vulnerabilities, starting with OWASP top 10, platform specific coverage, user behavioral based coverage, 0-day protections. All these particular protections are integrated into this particular approach. Then the advanced level protections, like we have DDoS and bot mitigations, again AI driven services that we provide for both DDoS and bot. If I talk about DDoS services, we provide layer 3 to layer 7 DDoS services, again backed with the AI. It's a behavioral based DDoS wherein we understand like what is the pattern, and based upon that it's a dynamic policy allocation we do adhering to the changing trend of the application traffic. It's not a static rate limits that we basically apply. It's a behavioral based concept that we have brought in for DDoS to be accurate enough and to ensure that we do not create any kind of false positives as well, right? So DDoS, again, it comes with a granularity, like you can apply the DDoS at an IP level, cookie level, you can do it at a country level, HTTP methods level, right? Different type of layers of DDoS you can implement based upon the use case you want to solve for your application. Similarly, we also have AI-backed bots protection services. Again, it's a completely a threat score based model that we have built in here, wherein all the traffic has to pass through a specific filters of a bot, which derives a specific threat score. And based upon that threat score, we derive whether it's a good bot traffic or bad bot traffic. So that helps us in categorization. And we also have some of the advanced mechanisms to challenge the attackers with different kinds of responses, like we can do a crypto challenge, we can do a captcha based challenges, we can feed the fake informations to the user, to the attackers, to misguide them, right? So a lot of different kinds of responses we also do with this particular thing. And then for APIs, right? So nowadays APIs are becoming more and more targeted and abused compared to that of the web applications as well. So here we have a complete suite of API security where we discover the API host, we discover the API endpoints. I will show you that in my demo. And then we build a very robust positive security model with classification of the APIs to understand what is the criticality of every endpoint that has been discovered, and based on that we can strengthen our security controls. Like if any of the APIs they are carrying a user PII information, right, or they are carrying a PCI information, or say a PHI information, then those will be flagged out for the security team to know that this is where I can apply more controls, like I can go with rate limiting policies and so those kind of granularity we provide from an API security standpoint, understanding the rogue APIs, zombie APIs, right? A complete positive security model. The solution builds a Swagger file, Open API Swagger file, which defines all the APIs. So that's exactly what we do from an API security standpoint. The similar risk-based approach we have also carried forwarded to the APIs, where we scan the APIs, we do the pen testing of the APIs, we understand the risk, we get those virtually patched with the help of the Swift comply feature that we have brought in this particular space. So that's about the WAAP that we do. And again, as I mentioned, like we are a certain impanel member and authorized auditor. So we also issue a safe to host certificates once all the vulnerabilities have been patched for all your web app assets as well. The entire solution is also backed with the managed services. Now, this is a very important piece when it comes to the web application firewall and API protection, wherein managed services has a monitoring where we monitor your application 24/7. Again, it's a Gen AI tools that we use to enhance our monitoring. So we basically monitor the uptime of your applications. Whenever your application gets onboarded, we fine tune the aggressive policies, push them to the block mode to ensure that we have better protections as well for your application. So 0-day protection coverage, writing any kind of custom policies. So every managed service that we offer comes with an aggressive SLA. So like if it's a critical vulnerability, within less than 24 hours we get it patched out, right? So DDoS, our response, and bot for response is less than 5 minutes. So that is the kind of aggressive turnaround that we provide with our managed services that we offer. So managed service plays a very, very important role to it acts like a extended security team to your security team who works with you to keep on enhancing your security postures. Now, finally, with security, the availability and performance play a very important role as well to secure your web applications and APIs, right? So here, our infrastructure is highly scalable, highly elastic, and highly reliable. That's how we are built in. We provide 100% guaranteed uptime along with a backup failure mechanisms, right? So nowadays, we have seen like the business disruptions are becoming common against the vendors where the services are going down. It's impacting the services ability of the businesses. So here we have built a very unique concept of ensuring that the availability of the applications or APIs are never impacted, irrespective of whether the WAF infrastructure has any kind of technical errors or something. We do have a backup failure mechanisms, different levels of backup failure mechanisms to have 100% guaranteed uptime. And finally, it also comes with a CDN services which has been integrated into the dashboard so that if you have any kind of static page applications that can be utilized to cache the static contents and enhance the performance of your application as well. So in a summary, we start with discovering your assets, then we onboard those assets, we perform vulnerability assessments, we understand the risk, we get those virtually patched with the help of Swift Compile feature, then we activate the WAF, like starting with the OWASP top 10. Then we have DDoS bot mitigation techniques, API security models that we offer, back with the managed services, and a robust platform to cater the need of your application as well. So that is an overall offering in a summary that we offer as a platform. So if any of the customers who are looking for securing their websites, web applications, mobile applications, or an APIs, then this is the right set of tool to secure such kind of assets as well. So this is how the architecture looks like. So our entire architecture is built bottom up on the AWS cloud, right? So AWS is our cloud partner, wherein we have multiple data centers hosted within the AWS with multiple availability zones in every data center. So if I start with every data center has multiple availability zones. So even if one availability zone goes down, your traffic can still be routed through another available availability zone, right? So that's how it has been mentioned. And let's take an example. If one specific region goes down, we have an option like we can route the traffic through another available region to ensure your security is intact. We also have an advanced mechanisms in place, which is called as an auto bypass. In the scenario where there is some kind of technical issues in the WAF infrastructure, we can instantly bypass your application from the WAF infrastructure, tunneling back to the origin to ensure that your application uptime is never been impacted, right? So that is some of the most important thing, because when we talk about availability versus security, availability always has an upper hand in that particular space as well, right? So we do have the entire infrastructure. If I talk about every availability zones, every region has different blocks. Every block has, let's say, 10 to hundreds of machines which are highly scalable. So based upon the need, they can scale in and they can scale out as per the requirements to handle a volumetric instance of the DDoS traffics as well, or the bot traffic as well onto the infrastructure side. So our data centers are spread across the globe. So based upon the nearest proximity to the user's origin, it will automatically select the respective data center. If a user wants to have a specific data center, we ensure that that data center is selected to cater the traffic from that particular region, right? So basically, this is the schematic of how the traffic flow will be, where whenever the user access your application, it lands to our CDN if it has been enabled. Then it comes to the WAP platform where we have a load balancer. We have different blocks, right? As I mentioned, every block has 10 to hundreds of WAF machines to cater the load. And Let's take an example like if one availability zone of AWS is down, it can still route to another availability zone as well. So that's how a very high uptime is been meant here and been provided. And then the traffic exits to the NAT gateway to the origin server to further processes out the clean traffic, right? So that is how it has been designed. So from a customer standpoint, there is no change required from their end. The only change that has been expected for them is to make a DNS change, right? There is no change in the hardware, so there is no change at the infrastructure level, no software, no user agent installation, just a DNS change, and you can start protecting your application within few minutes, right? So that's pretty simplified things we have kept, and the solution is built to handle any amount of load that has been expected, right? So that is how we also handle the DDoS traffic, bot traffic onto the platform to ensure we are able to defend any volume of such kind of volumetric instances of the traffic as well. So that is the brief on how the architecture side looks like onto this particular platform. And now let's go on to the dashboard. Let's see how this feature looks like, how the dashboard looks like, and let's discuss the use cases that we can solve with the help of these particular functions that we are going to offer. So let me quickly jump into the dashboard side. Just give me a second. In the meantime, any questions? If you have any questions, feel free to post that in a Q&A section. I will be happy to answer those particular questions. So please feel free to post your questions, queries on the Q&A site, and I will take that up one by one as I see onto the screen side as well. So let me navigate to the dashboard. Okay. I hope my dashboard is visible here to all of you. So this is a completely new facelift of the dashboard we have done, and the partners who have been working with us, this is something, a new dashboard you might have seen. So I will also go through that. What are the new functions which we have added here on the dashboard screen side as well. So let's get started. I will first show you how easy and smoothly you can onboard any of your applications, right? So this is the page.
Somebody is saying to again go back to your architecture.
Sure, Anuj. I will go back to the architecture. Yeah, so I will also cover how we are different from an API, other API security solutions. When I show you on the dashboard, I will cover those particular part as well. Let me first of all address the architecture side, and then I will move on to. Okay, so this is the architecture. I will just refresh the architecture once again. So this architecture is built completely on AWS cloud. We have data centers across different regions of AWS to cater the need of the customer. The applications are associated to the nearest proximity of the application server. So let's take an example. If an application is hosted in India region, the nearest region of data center will be selected to cater the traffic from that region. Now, on the AWS, every region, let's take an example. I'm taking an example of AWS Mumbai region. In Mumbai region, we have multiple availability zones. In AWS, availability zone itself is a physical data center located minimum 100 kilometers apart from each other, right? So that is basically utilized to ensure the high availability. So in Mumbai region, we have multiple availability zones. where the traffic can be routed through. So even if one availability zone goes down, the traffic can still be routed through another availability zone in the same region. If the entire region goes down, let's say if a Mumbai region goes down, then we have the another region in India, a Hyderabad region of AWS. The traffic will be routed through that particular region. And we also have a mechanism where if the entire WAF infrastructure, that is the blocks that we have, right, if it goes down, then we have an auto bypass mechanism. So we have an advanced monitoring where we monitor your applications availability through our platform through direct access to the origin, and then we have a automation in place where if it sees that the application is not accessible through the WAF infrastructure because of some technical reason, it immediately auto bypass the application to ensure that the availability of the application is never impacted. Once that particular technical glitch is resolved, it automatically fail back to the security. So it's an automation that's been built, failover and fail back, with the interest that your application availability is always maintained, right? So it's a monitoring that we have. It's an auto bypass function that we use, right? So that to ensure that the availability is never been impacted. Now, if I talk about a specific region, in every region, we have multiple blocks to cater the application traffic. Every block has different machines, like 10 to hundreds of WAF machines, which are using auto scaling mechanism to scale the traffic, scale in and scale out. That has been as per the requirement of the traffic at that point of time. And it's a completely shared infrastructure with a logical separation of the traffic between the customers, right? So that we ensure that we follow all the compliances. If I talk about from a compliance standpoint, we are PCI a certified solution. So our WAF infrastructure is PCI certified. It's a SOC 2 certified. We are in ISO 27001 certified. Our MSS team is ISO certified. We are also certain. We are also compliant to GDPR guidelines as well, right? So all the compliances from how the data handling happens, how we store the data, how the data is handled in the transit, etc. All these things are well in place to ensure that we are meeting all the compliance guidelines as well from an architecture standpoint, right? So moving to the portal. So if any of you guys have any further questions, feel free to put me in the chat.
It is there.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, right, so we have all the compliances. So whatever the traffic is, wherever your application is hosted, the data is processed only in that particular region. So all the privacy requirements from a compliance perspective is well handled. Again, the most important point as a part of the compliance is we ensure that we do not store any of the user's PII information. It's only the metadata information that we store for any kind of investigations, forensic analysis, or any kind of troubleshooting that has been required. Only those level of information we store. We do not store any of the user information which could impact the privacy as well. And these are all the parts of the PCI certifications or the SOC 2 certifications that we are talking about. So yeah, so that is how we basically handle the data. So whenever your traffic, okay, there's a question about like how do you measure the security when it is bypassed, right? So objective of bypassing is not to maintain a security, but to maintain the availability. Now, when we do the bypass, let's say in a region, if the entire AWS region goes down in a specific location, then the auto bypass kicks in, right? So now this feature is built to ensure that your application availability is not impacted because of some technical reasons, right? So the example which I have given, like if your traffic is currently traversing through Mumbai region, and let's say if Mumbai region both the availability zone goes down, right? So this is very unlikely situation we are talking about, but let's take an example. If that happens, then the traffic completely routes to the Hyderabad region where we have another data center located in the same region, right? Again, in the Hyderabad region, we have multiple availability zones. Consider that the entire India region of AWS goes down, which is very unlikely situation we are talking about. Even if that happens, we have an auto bypass mechanism where the entire WAF can be bypassed and it can tunnel the traffic back to your origin, right? So because without customer consent, we cannot change the territory region for moving the traffic to another region. If we have that consent, we can still do that, but because of the compliance reasons, we have to ensure that the traffic remains within the territory boundary. So that is how we do. So any region, if any block, as I mentioned, every data center has different blocks, and if any kind of issues, technical issues are observed in that block, we have an auto bypass mechanism, and we are the only vendor who has this particular functionality to maintain the high uptime, right? No competition has this particular function of auto bypass, and this is a most likely feature with my enterprise customer where availability is at an upper hand when we compare to that of a security implementation, right? So it is up to the customers, like we ensure that your availability is maintained, and based upon the availability of the data center, we can route the traffic, or then we can and again, it's a fraction of seconds or minutes, like whenever the technical glitch happens, it automatically restores and it feels back, right? So that's how basically we handle. Yeah, so I think so. One question is like, is it possible all region goes down? Again, I'm saying that it's very unlikely situation. But even if that happens, then we do have the backups in the GCP cloud, right? So if the entire globe AWS goes down, then we still have the ability that we can spin up the instances in GCP cloud as well, right? So we do have a well documentation around that as well. So the guys who have more interest in understanding that, we can share across those particular information as well. Okay. Okay, so now I will move on to the demo in the interest of the time, and then if the time permits, I'll be taking more questions as well. So okay, so now let's see how quickly you can onboard. Before I move on to the onboarding, this is the asset discovery section I was explaining about. So as you can see, these are all the assets that has been discovered for my domain. I will be able to see those particular assets if I go to this option. So what all information you are able to see onto the screen? You will be able to see like what are the top level domains, what are the respective subdomains. So here, if you go to this particular option, this is the option here, like what are the top level domains, what are the respective subdomains, what are the IP addresses, data centers, right? So this is going to give you the inventory that what you are responsible for implementing the security. So it's a heuristic based scan that we do, and based on that scanning, we identify all these particular assets, and based on that, we give the list here. Now, once you have discovered the assets, the discovery can also be performed at a specific frequency. Like most of my customers, they tend to do it on a fortnightly basis. You can do the discovery as well, right? And even if you want to exclude a specific root domains or subdomains to not to be discovered, those are functions you can do. Now, to onboard an application, this is the option you can select. Like if I want to onboard an application, I can select like what application I want to onboard. I can select like I'm just giving a demo application, okay, and then you can select the type of application, whether you're onboarding a web application or an API, what scan URL you want to select. You can select the promo code. So this is basically nothing but it's a license that has been associated. You can select one of the license. You can click on save. You can click on next, right? Here you can select like how you want to handle the SSL certificates. So basically we provide Let's Encrypt certificate as a part of this particular solution offering. If you want to use your third-party certificates, you can also do that, or you can also change anytime later on as well. I will click on onboard. Let's go with the default configuration. And once you click on onboard, in the backend, it's going to create the configuration ready and it's going to associate different policies which falls under the OAuP's top 10 category. The default sets of policies it will start with, it will set up the default DDoS policies, bot mitigation policies. A template will be associated in the backend, and once that has been completely done, it will generate a DNS records, and that DNS records needs to be updated in the hosting provider of the customer's DNS to start routing the traffic through our platform, and that's it. You are done, right? So it's just a 3-click onboarding to secure any application. Every logic and the magic happens in the background. It has made user friendly for the customers to onboard quickly, swiftly, right? So we have been onboarding like if the customer has 30-40 applications, we can complete the entire scope in a couple of days as well to onboard, do the sanity check and onboard. So this is how the records look like the DNS records. You'll be able to see this is basically used for certificate generation. This is used for generating the routing the traffic through us. You can click on done, and that's it. You are done. You'll be able to see that application. So that's how basically the onboarding works with this particular platform. And we also provide a DNS management and DNS security function as well. This is an add-on function. So if customer wants us to become a name server and wants to handle their entire DNS records with us and DNS security, then we also provide this particular function. So we, as being on AWS, we are using Route 53 as a service for DNS management and DNS security. So this function is also a part of the offering that we do. If I move on to the vulnerability section that we discussed about, so here you can select what application data you want. So you want to see. So generally it's a single pane of glass for you to view all the information under one umbrella, right? So you can select, like for example, I want to have a holistic information like how many vulnerabilities have been identified. So I will see like how many total vulnerabilities have been identified, what is the protection status, how many of them are patched by the core protection, custom protection, how many more can be patched, how many needs to be fixed in code. All those kind of informations you will be able to see. If I scroll up further down, you'll be able to see like what are the open vulnerabilities, which application has major open vulnerabilities. You'll be able to see that. And this is the feature I was discussing about Swift Comply, right? So once you raise a Swift Comply for a specific application, it lands to my managed security services team, wherein they will write the custom rules and provide a clean report within a 72 hours of time window, right? So this is how the Swift Comply reports look like. So just to share, this is the report which will have all the information like how many vulnerabilities have been patched, right? Like let's say 30 vulnerabilities have been patched, how many needs to be fixed at the code level, how many total exploits have been blocked. Now this is something very, very interesting, right? If these custom rules were not patched in a right time, right, these exploits could have gone positive and could have breached the application. So that's the ROI we show, like how many exploits we have blocked on top of this particular policies, right? So as you can see, this many number of exploits has been blocked. So that is the value add that Swift Comply brings in, that within 72 hours, you get a clean report to look at and patch all your possible vulnerabilities, right? So from a scanner perspective, as I mentioned, you have an unlimited number of scans you can opt for. So that is the first layer of defense that we basically implement with this particular solution. Here you also get a complete trend, like how many vulnerabilities or the applications have been patched, how many needs to be patched, how many needs to be fixed in code. So a very user-friendly widgets are available for a quick information that you can gather from this particular screen. So that is the first thing. Now, second layer onwards, like if I want to start building the WAAP policies, right? So here I can enable the WAAP status. So again, I was explaining the auto bypass. So that option is also available as a manual trigger to the customer, where they will want to bypass manually for some kind of troubleshooting or investigations, they can use this bypass switch. Again, this is a function which is unique to us, right? Considering the availability of the application, any technical errors you're observing on the application, post WAAP implementation, immediately you can bypass and troubleshoot further as well, right? So that are the options which has been provided. Now, we also have the file upload restrictions, where we have also come up with a malware scanning on the file uploads, right? So all the files that you can upload can also be scanned for any kind of malwares, adwares, right? Any kind of malicious content in that. So that is an add-on feature that we also provide with the scanning. So if your customers has any of the application which access the user files, right? So you can definitely utilize this function. Then we have DDoS policies, bot policies to talk about. DDoS policies. So these are all the default policies that we start with as a protection, and then we start building the DDoS policies. So here you will have all the information about, you can add a new policy out here, right? So these are the default policies which is available. If you want to configure a specific policies, you can edit a policy. So multi-layered policy you can configure, like if you want to have IP based policy, host based policy, custom rate limiting policies. So it will look for the trend for the last 7 days, and based upon the trend, we can define a formula that what is the right set of formula to accept the traffic, and after that consider that it's a volumetric breach that has been happened, right? So we can have a country level controls, URI level controls, IP level controls, cookie level controls, HTTP method parameters, different parameters you can select, different actions you can opt for, whether you want to go with captcha based, block mode, right? And even if it's a real-time notification that can also be sent out to your security operations center, right? So it's a service that we provide, wherein our managed security services will completely defend the DDoS if any attempts has been seen, and the real-time notification also goes to your security operations center. The most important point is we do not penalize the customers based upon what volume of bad traffic has been experienced, right? So it's a very transparent thing that we provide. It's an unmetered DDoS service that we offer with this particular platform, which has a comprehensiveness from layer 3 to layer 7 to combat against any kind of volumetric instances that we offer. So similar to DDoS, we also have a bot framework, wherein there is a different policies they operate in conjunction to derive a threat score, and based upon that threat score we can define an action. So these are some of the policies to talk about, like we have pretended based policies. Even we also monitor the LLM crawlers. So nowadays, being AI becoming one of the important technology in this particular space, we have seen like a lot of AI bots are also crawling the application and increasing the more and more traffic onto the application as well. So here we have given the control to the user, like what kind of AI bots they want to allow and what kind of bots they want to block it up, right? Again, we have AI backed services in the bot sense, in the form of bot sense. So we have an AI model wherein we feed the information from a bot, from the bot module, and basically there are different 30 to 35 parameters we check in the entire HTTP headers body parameter level to validate whether what kind of traffic it is, and it derives a specific score that helps us to identify whether it's a malicious or it's a genuine traffic as well. So these are the AI concepts that is also a part of the bot module that we provide as a part of this particular thing. And then you can also, based upon the score, let's say for example, it is very low chance that it is a bad bot traffic, I can say, hey, just log it out, don't block it out. If it's a high chance that it's a bad bot traffic, I will say, hey, challenge with a captcha, right, to the user. If it's a guaranteed bad bot traffic, start blocking that particular traffic. So multi-layered configurations you can go with this particular bot policy options that we provide, right? So that is how we basically configure different sets of policies, similar to the web applications, right? So we have an extension to APIs as well, as I mentioned. So API security is also one of the unique proposition that we do here. So we discover all the APIs. So this is how the API endpoints discovery looks like. as you can see on the screen. What are the API hosts? First thing is API host discovery. Then we onboard that host. We discover all the endpoints. What are the different endpoints which has been identified here? And then we also give the intelligence like what are the methods that have been accessed. We also identify like what are the uh, tags, like what is the classification of that API. If that API is catering to some user personal information, then we identify and we flag those out. And for the discovery standpoint, we also have a granularity here. Like we also look for a URI based, query based, and a body based detection logics to identify the endpoints, and we identify what is a valid way to access the API. So if you can look into this particular screen, different PIIs has been identified. If I look into the body part, like what is the path parameter, query parameter, body parameter, we'll be able to see like what action you want to take, like you want to block this API or you want to ensure that this API is accessed only with the legit methods, enforce a strict path parameter or the body or the query parameter. So those kind of enforcements also you can do as a part of this particular thing, right? And as I said, like we build a Swagger file, and the Swagger file can also be utilized for identifying the definitions. It can be downloaded, it can be modified by the app team to add more intelligence to the WAP and re-upload so that the WAP will have more understanding of an API. So this is an API discovery that we do. So we scan the APIs, we virtually patch the vulnerabilities. We have DDoS bot specific to the APIs. Then we build a positive security model. We do the classifications. We understand the rogue zombie APIs, and then we block such kind of attempts as well, right? So this is an API security function that is also part. So end-to-end API security is also offered as a part of this particular solution with this particular offering as well. And with that, we also show the analytics of the different activities which WAF has done. So if you would like to see the activity, this is how the different analytics look like what traffic has been blocked under which particular category of the attacks, like how many DDoS bot has been seen, right? How many exploit attacks has been seen onto the application, where the attacker is explicitly trying to target the open vulnerabilities which have been patched by the WAF, right? So those kind of informations we show, like the analytic information, which are the top IP addresses, top countries, top rules which is getting triggered out. And then you have a drill down, a third level drill down in this particular option. Like if you want to see what this IP is doing all about, right? So you can have a detailed information like what kind of traffic they are trying to do, what kind of attack they are trying to do. If you want to see the payload, you will be able to see the location of the payload and the payload data as well. So that is the granularity we provide, right? We do not have any model like based upon the subscription you get the visibility or the depth of the logs. No, because for forensics or investigation, it is very important to have all the logs handy with the customer. We also do a SIM integration. So SIM integration is also part of this particular offering, where you can ingest the WAF logs, real-time WAF logs into your SIM tool to build different type of correlation policies and have more broader visibility from a different tools as well. So that is the analytics section that we provide. And we also continuously monitor the score of your application, right? So what is the security score, or you can say a confidence score for your application? And it also has a recommendations, right? What are the different kinds of actions that has to be taken to keep on enhancing this particular score? So as a security administrator, the objective is for them to look at this particular score and take the action that is added as a recommendations as well, right? So those are the options that has been there. If I talk about the bandwidth, so you'll be able to see like how the request looks like for your application, how the users are accessing your application, those visibility. If you want to enable the CDN services, you will be able to see. If you want to see like, hey, how the LLM crawlers are behaving onto your application, right? So you want to say, hey, I want to understand which LLM crawlers and how they're accessing my application, right? So you will have a complete analytics here from reference to the LLM crawlers as well, with all the kind of logs that we offer. in this particular section as well. So this is a suggested actions, right? So what actions are recommended to keep on enhancing? What piece of security implementation is missing that you can figure out from this particular section? Get those things implemented to keep on enhancing your risk posture of your applications as well. With the WAAP, we also have a self-managed rules option. So let's say if a customer wants to add their own rule onto this particular page, they can also add a custom rule, right? So again, custom rule is delivered either through our managed services, or it can also be delivered through our it can also be written by the customers online as well. So on the dashboard we have given this option, like which user like which application you want to implement the custom rule for. You can select all application also in one go. So let's say if you have an IOCs of IPs and you want to block across all the applications, you can do that. You can build the custom rules based upon a geofencing. Let's say if I want to allow a traffic only for specific country, specific IP, or if you want to have more granular things on the HTTP parameters and the combination of both, and you can select like what actions you want to take. This is exactly I was talking about the granularity of the actions that we provide. Like, so we provide captcha option, we provide crypto challenge options, right? So we challenge the attackers, we increase the bot score, we immediately start throttling the request as soon as we see something malicious. So all those kind of use cases basically we solve with this particular option here. And then this is the logs and report section. A complete visibility into the logs you will get, and then you can have a quick analytics about the logs to see if any kind of anomalies has been seen. So all those new age actions you will be able to see: the attack logs, vulnerability logs, reporting options. You will be able to see the Swift comply report, the scan report, the vulnerability assessment reports. You'll be able to see the false positive analysis that has been done by our managed services. That information, so you'll be able to get that here. And finally, if I want to show you the integration options, we have a CI/CD integrations. So if you are using a DevSecOps, we have a CI/CD integration with Jenkins out of the box. So you can call us once a build has been there in the Jenkins, you want to scan it before you move to the next step. You can do that with the Jenkins integration. For ticketing, we also have Jira. So if you once a scan has been done, if it is a critical high vulnerability, you want to push it out to a specific application owner through Jira. So we also have Jira integration also as a part of this particular offering. And finally, this entire tool is also backed with 24/7 technical support services, which is accessible over email, call, as well as over a chat module, right? So just to cover up, we discuss about the asset discovery, DNS, Swift comply, malware, self-managed tools, API security, reporting, CI/CD, and Jira integrations, right? So we also provide 14-day free trial. So if you have any prospect who is looking to evaluate similar solutions with us, definitely we are open for a 14-day free trial and would be happy to run through all these particular feature sets with the use cases to evaluate for the customers as well. So I will take a final pause and we'll look for few questions, if any, on this particular session. Just give me a minute.
Free trial now or incentive come out, get in touch with your alliance.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a free trial, please get in touch with your alliance sales person, Nutan. So Nutan Tandil from our side, she is the right point of contact for you to reach out if you have any prospect customers who want to evaluate the entire WAAP solution. Then she is the right person. And once it's been aligned, we will do the end-to-end POC, show the value add of the solution, and understand the use case of the customer, and will solve their application security challenges as well. So opening the floor for Q&A, we have a few more minutes left. So any questions, any queries, feel free to put it in the Q&A section. You can also directly reach out to me over a call, email, or you can also reach out to Nutan. She will also align me up for any kind of technical discussions you want to do with your customer. I will be happy to jump on a call and take that up as well. So looking for any Q&A questions.
Questions have been answered.
Okay, I think so. We are good. So thank you so much, guys, for joining in. I hope the session was informative and it was you have learned something new on this particular tool side. Any questions which is unanswered, happy to get those addressed. Please send me an email, and we'll definitely get in touch with you and get this sorted. Thank you. Thank you once again. Have a good day ahead. Thank you, guys.